Welcome back. We hope you enjoy that musical. We intentionally gave you that musical. I'm sure it reminds you of when you were in primary school or secondary school, just to put a smile on your face. Now we want to talk about recent flooding events, okay? How it's been, especially in Kogi and the Federal Capital Territory. And we have the head of operations, NEMA Abuja, in the house to talk to us and give us the update. We have please join us and welcome Justin Uche Wazuri. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, madam. Thank you
Wow,
for having me.
NEMA. When people hear NEMA, like before now, you're saying people, a lot of people will wonder what is NEMA doing? What is NEMA doing? What kind of job are they doing? And are they really working? So before we start looking at the events, the flooding events, recent ones, talk to us, update us on what's been going on, what you've been doing.
Really, after the NIMET and NISA release of early warnings and flood alert
Okay.
at the early part of this year, NEMA as an agency at the national level, really we have about 17 offices in the federation covering 2 states and 3 states as the case may be. And we have all state emergency management agencies all over the country. Where I cover is FCT and Kogi. We've been on sensitization. We've been on education, and also trying to make people understand that there is need for them to leave risk locations and go to higher ground and safe areas, especially those living along the river banks. We have riparian communities along Kogi, and even in Abuja here. If you are living too close to the river, there's every possibility that you may experience flooding. So we're educating the people and also carrying our stakeholders along, taking them to locations that they need to improve on. Like last time we had an assessment jointly done by FCT administration on hotspots within the FCT. And we were able to identify those locations, and they tried to clear those locations, deset the drains, and so on. This is what we have been doing.
You talked about the hotspots. Okay, so in the FCT, let's start from the FCT.
Okay.
Where and where are these?
The hotspots are mainly those locations like where we're having construction activities. As construction is going on, water movement is obstructed. Yes. So these are hotspots. Some areas are communities like around Kwale area that are living on floodplain, although they carry their livelihood activities within the floodplain. Most of them are farmers, so moving them is difficult. This is exactly what we have to carry out risk assessment in those locations.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now let's look at, I know that there has been sensitization.
Yes.
Sensitization before the season and even after the season. So from your experience, what would you say are some of the reasons why some areas are flooded, aside from those areas that that are close to maybe water and all that and all that?
Yes, we have flash floods. The reason is because of we are living out green areas. We want everywhere to be cemented. All this interlocking are also preventing water from percolating or infiltrating into the soil. Nature, as you know, allows for water to infiltrate into the soil. As long as we are interlocking, preventing natural infiltration, the flooding will occur in most of our cities.
Okay.
Even though we have created some drainages, channels, while carrying out construction companies and works departments are creating channels. People are also contributing to it by dropping refuse at the drains.
Okay.
Definitely, it will block the drains. That's exactly what is making flooding so prominent within the cities.
Okay. Now let's compare last year and this year. Would you say that this year, the flooding this year is more than last year?
I would say there's serious flood depending on the location. In the area where I'm covering now, Kogi, by this time last year, we're having about close to 8 point something meters around Lokoja area. But now it's about 7 point. You know, at a particular time, the rains stopped.
Okay.
During the period that the rain stopped, the soil became drier to assimilate, to take more water.
Okay.
So that is the thing. So we are having rains, but it's giving a little bit gap. The rain days are being affected. That's why in each time we are carrying out advocacy, we tell the people to be listening to NIMET predictions, daily NIMET forecast.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. From your assessment, you'll be able to assess the extent of damages.
We will not be able to do it until after, but the assessment now, when I would say assessment is that within the area I'm covering, we've not had much damages. Yes, okay. We've not had much because people are taking precautionary measures. And as you are telling them to move away from floodplain, most of them are moving away, but they will not completely move. Yes, and if you watch, because their means of livelihood is tied to that location, so moving them is very difficult. Advising them will make them be aware, and they will improve on relocating and coming back to Ghana. Yes.
Okay, that reminds me of my place.
Yes.
I'm from Obaro, and Obaro,
yes. Yes.
So we always have issue of it. Yes. And I know they have what we call the IDP camp, what like temporary IDP camp for people that they move them to, and afterwards, when it's done, they now bring them back. But now I want to find out: is there any sensitization? Do you conduct any sensitization program before the flood?
Yeah.
Okay. What about those in the communities?
We went down to different communities. Before that, we had a joint installation program by June. That time, water has not come, rains have not come too much to the north. We had a joint installation with SEMA, State Emergency Management Agency, even with the FCT Emergency Management Agency, whereby we call tank criers, community leaders from those locations that we know that are at risk. We now educate them after discussing with them, telling them the implication. Even it was dramatized, and we asked them to go down to their locality and also talk to their people. I think it's working out. Later, our DG further approved for us to go down to most of those localities. We had the one in Ida, moving down from Abuja here down to Ida, because we had to talk about proper waste management. And as you are aware, yes, this has been the problem, as you have said. Why are we having it more in the cities? We are not managing our waste properly. People, when the rains are on, they will just start dumping.
Yes. Yeah. And so where it's supposed to have a free passage, there's always a blockade. And it bounces back.
Yes. That's the major problem.
Now, looking forward, are there any future initiative that NEMA is working towards to make sure that, even I know that it's not possible for you to, just, what would I call it? It's not possible for you to have something that will stop the flood, but at least in a way. Like we talked about waste management now. Yes. So is there any initiative?
Part of the initiative is that we are engaging the communities, we are engaging stakeholders.
Okay.
Now, engaging stakeholders, you see that as NEMA normally say, disaster management is everybody's business. So you too will help us and educate the people.
Yes,
you are doing now. Yes, that's what you are doing now. And I believe that as you are doing it, people will learn more and they will be more conscious of what they are doing. Okay. So these are strategies we are putting in place. Apart from that, we are carrying assessment to see the state of preparedness of our stakeholders, current assessment on our SEMAs to know where and what they need to be supported in capacity building and so on. These are strategies that are non-physical. We have physical and non-physical measures. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, from your experience, because you are the one that goes to where it happens,
Yes.
and what you have seen, what would you say, or what would you say to the government? What advice, or I don't know, any initiative that you feel that the government can also help?
We are all the government, including you.
I
If
know.
you say government,
Yes, I know all the government,
yeah.
but this time I'm not talking about NEMA.
Okay, the
I'm
government.
talking about
Yes, what we will say is that our stakeholders we need to synergize with us, and all the stakeholders need to work together because with synergy, I think we will go to places we will improve on the situation.
Okay. So what advice you have for you talked about the drainage?
Yes.
Why would somebody just instead of disposing your waste properly, just dump it and it bounces back?
Yes.
So what advice would you have for people, especially those people who are the hotspots, like you said? I'm not talking about those ones who have rivers at the back of our village now. River Niger is at the back of our house. But I'm talking about people that it's just they are out of carelessness.
Yeah. I am advising, for example, if you get to my place, I wouldn't like to interlock all my compound. We should leave some green areas whereby infiltration will take place. That's one advice. The other advice is that we should make provision for little silos, baskets to collect this waste. We'll call it waste. We can still create money out of it. So when we collect them, we can beautifully dispose them through the waste management both individuals and the companies. We have individuals that come and pick the waste. We also have companies that do come and pick. So we can dispose them. Some of them come to pick those waste and even give you in exchange of money or some items. So the advice is for us to try as much as we can to keep them properly, sort them properly, and dispose them. Yes, plastic waste. Plastic waste is just everywhere. Yes,
it's everywhere.
Yes. So that's my advice.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. And like we always say on this show, we keep thanking NEMA for what you're doing because always when there's disaster, it's always in NEMA. NEMA is readily there to make sure. So thank you so much, and please keep sensitizing. Good morning, Abuja. Please don't go anywhere. We'll come back after this break. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Abuja on NTA Channel 5, the Unity Station. Yeah, we want to discuss a topic that is very, very important. I tell you that. Why? Because it has to do with our children. We are discussing the effects of divorce on our children. What happens to them? Do we put them into consideration before taking that decision? We have a legal practitioner and also a relationship coach in the person of Simon Joseph Abonya. He is here to join us to tell us what to do and what not to do when we want to go into divorce. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, man.
Good morning. Good morning. At times, it's sad to see them just left like that. Okay, or when we want to take that decision, not putting them into consideration. So, from your experience, what are those most common emotional and psychological effects or impacts divorce has on our children?
Well, thank you so much, Wade, for this wonderful opportunity to share with you. To me, it is a profession, it is a calling.
Oh, okay.
Because personally, I must say I'm a product of divorce.
Wow.
Because I experienced it.
And I'm also a product of divorce.
You can imagine that. I've experienced it not just from my mom. My father got married to so many other women, still divorced them. So it is something that I've grown to be in it, to witness. It still run across some of my siblings. You understand? And when we want to talk about the effects of divorce, we can't exhaust them. It's a thing that cannot be exhausted. And looking at it from a perspective mostly of the upbringing of a child. Divorce, to me, I take it to be a pandemic that we're trying to avoid. We're trying to maybe keep it aside, like not really taking caution, not really trying to prevent. Why do I say it's something we're not trying to prevent? It is an aspect of that, a break in marriage that every couple should be conscious of, considering the danger it poses on the family and then society at large. If you look at the effects of divorce on children, fundamentally, do we ask ourselves if these children agree to what we want to do? Like personally, if my dad, I was in a position where he could ask me because I was the last child of my mother from him. Okay. So if he had the opportunity of asking me, will I say divorce my mother, get another wife?
You will not.
It's not possible because whether I like it or not, a time comes when a child wants to hear from the father, not the mother. Okay. It's just the father he wants to hear from. And a time comes when he wants to be at the bosom of the mother, not the father. And there's a time taking, for instance, celebrations like that day. The child wants the mother to be by the side, the father to be by the side. Yes. But divorce will rob them of this opportunity. Wow. So one thing that comes into play is that one, they are sad. You can remove sadness from it. Aside being sad, they are sad of the fact that I can't see my mother today, I can't see my father, because even when it comes to the issue of custody, they say you stay with your father, this person stay with the mother. The time comes when I want to hear from my daddy, and the daddy is nowhere to be found. You want to go and see the daddy, the mother is saying you are not going out today. You won't see him today because the child has some restriction. We are forgetting that the opportunity of a child to be with a mother, it's a God-given opportunity. So why rob it? I was supposed to wake up every day, see my dad.
See your dad and see your mom.
See my mom. But divorce now make me to begin to calculate to see times where I can see any of them.
Wow.
And it's heartbroken.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Then some go into depression because you are coming, as you go to school, you meet some of your friends whom are sharing some experiences. My mommy was discussing this with my dad. I said this. They are joking and you are hearing this. Every child also wants to tell a story. When you want to tell your story, how do you start it? My mom avoided me to see my dad yesterday. It wasn't funny. What did you then do? I went to sleep. It's not a good story that a reasonable child will want to share with their friends. So it also breeds depression. The child is depressed. It will shock you that at age 12, interview certain children, you'll be surprised that there are some who are saying awful things about their parents. You're like, where did this thing come from? And some parents go to say, who have you been discussing with lately? No. Don't forget we are created in the image and likeness of God. So these children have this understanding within them because the Spirit of God also ministers to them. We commonly call it conscience.
Yeah.
They have this within them. So it is not, if you begin, as I said, it is not something you will exhaust.
Okay.
The list is.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's look at the legal measures.
Legal measures.
During proceedings and legal measures.
Fantastic. I said this to the apology of the legal profession and some of my colleagues because it's not every lawyer that wants to take part is the truth. I tell you this. By the provision of Matrimonial Causes Act, when you want to file a divorce suit, you have a duty imposed by the petitioner to disclose certain things to the other party. I should be fair enough to disclose even my financial worth if she was not aware.
Okay, that's from the
Matrimonial Causes Act.
Oh.
So the lawyer taking this divorce also has to sign what I call a compliance form. He signs it to say, I have counseled them. I have tried to tell them the otherwise of this action they want to
go back on.
Exactly. You tell them, is this thing going to help you? Permit me to bring this instance. Even married for 30 years.
Oh.
My children, I think If I have a young child, maybe the young child should be around 10, 8 years. But within 30 years, if I give birth after 2 years of marriage, I should have a child who is 28, 27. Okay. Right?
Yes.
Now I want to divorce. Because the very common reason men keep giving as excuse is that the woman committed adultery. Very common reason. I can't take it. She slept with this person, she did this, we've been trying to. Forgetting that the idea of adultery itself, which is a condition that one needs to prove, is one of the conditions that one needs to prove by the provisions of Section 15 of the Matrimonial Causes Act. Those instances that leads to the marriage breaking down irretrievably, that will not give you the opportunity to file for a divorce. One of them fundamentally is adultery. So now, when a woman is committing adultery and you are not aware, you keep children in your home, believing these children are yours, without a DNA test. Everything is moving normal. The question I keep asking parties is, how does this now becomes very difficult when you know? Because people adopt, right? People adopt children.
Yeah.
You know from the onset that this child is not yours. But this woman hide under, perhaps it is under the umbrella of maybe her mistakes, permit me to say, because no same person want to share her partner with, his or her partner with another person. When this comes in, we don't look at the psychological effect, we don't look at what the woman is thinking by time, we don't look at what the woman is going through, whether we like it or not. We are physical and we are spiritual. I'm a Christian, that is why I'm talking from that background.
Okay.
So do we also consider this into place? If you check it very well, if you bring in your own ground of filing a petition that she divorced, I will be asking, how long has she been doing this? How did you meet her? How has been your sexual relationship? Do we put these things into consideration? When you have quarrel, how do you settle it? What do you think prompted that? Was she drunk? Has it happened once by your observation? Is it a constant thing happening to her? Have you tried to counsel? Because some of these things, as I said, they are mental disorders.
Wow.
Yes. So have you taken steps to see how you will help her? Because the idea of marriage is two imperfect people trying to live a perfect
life. Yes.
They are not perfect.
Yes.
We are not perfect.
People.
Two imperfect people.
Have different orientation. Different
background. Thank you so much.
Exposed to different things.
Fantastic.
Coming together.
Fantastic.
Wow.
So have you tried to help her? Because it is supposed to be a companionship, right? You help me, I help you. By the idea of God in Genesis is that God saw it was not good that man should be alone. He needed help. And in this helping, I have the duty. Sometimes we use terminologies that we don't carefully say to observe them. When you are getting married under the act, or at any point in time when you're getting married, the man is called a groom, the woman is called a bride.
Yeah.
A bride, if you look at it, is spotless. Within that time, you don't see any error in this woman.
Yes.
Right? Why the groom? What you are looking into. The groom has the responsibility of grooming the bride to what fits him.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's why it's called the groom.
Exactly. Because you are grooming the bride that has been given to you, spotless. So, as at any point in time, what you are presenting, it is what, to me, I feel has been what you groomed into that woman.
Over the years. Okay, let's look at strategies.
Okay.
Strategies that will help the children cope.
Fantastic.
When this happens.
Fantastic. One of the basic strategies, as I was trying to explain before I deviated, is that do we get experts into this thing?
Wow.
Because there should be experts who are able to handle this thing. As I'm talking to my wife, for instance, God forbid anyway that I divorce. But as I'm talking to my wife concerning divorce, there should be somebody talking to my children.
Children, honestly.
Yes.
Honestly.
Why has it become practically impossible for mommy and daddy to settle this? It is because of this. If mommy and daddy are into this relationship, this union, it will affect you. The child, the smart child, will always ask, for how? So the expert will be able to say, it will affect you A, B, Z. Because it is something he has known. This expert, like in most jurisdiction, they are called, they are like, in most jurisdiction, these persons are attorney. But they have yes, they are attorneys. Sometimes they are social workers. Some persons who are appointed, they are social workers. Some are psychologists, therapists.
Okay.
But if you look at them, their main aim of coming into that marriage is, what are these children feeling part-time? As they get them, refer them to the parents. You say this thing you are doing, your child has been taking drugs.
Wow.
It was as a result of this action you're taking.
Yeah.
For us, we have come to discover this is it.
Okay.
So this person has the duty
okay.
to now communicate even to the parents.
Okay.
And the parents, are they willing to continue after knowing that this thing? So at all points in time, don't just wake up with your selfish ambition to divorce. Get an expert to advise you.
Advise you wisely.
We, the lawyers, do our duty.
Okay.
Counsel them.
Okay.
Because before I file it, as I said, Matrimonial Causes Act said, comply. Have you counseled? Well, most often than not, these people go to court.
Okay.
Meeting the other party for the first time.
Okay.
So if you have signed that you have counseled them, how were you able to counsel somebody you didn't see?
All right, because of time. In fact, it's a topic that we need to, I don't know, it's a topic that we need to really talk about all the time, because it's happening. It's happening, it's exposing our children, it's not helping. A lot of things are happening. Thank you so much. We've been discussing the effects of divorce on our children, and you can see that it's something that we're not happy talking about, and he has just told us so much that we need to know. Okay, so we've been speaking with a legal practitioner. He's a legal practitioner and a relationship coach in the person of Simon Joseph Abuja. Okay, and you've heard all he has said. Please, whatever decision you are taking, put the children into consideration. And if you have already divorced, please, that does not mean that you cannot come together and take care of these children. Remember that you brought them into this world. Let's go on this musical. This time we want to take this musical from one of our legendary musicians that just passed away, and we are saying may her soul rest in peace. That's Onyeka When. Let's take Iyo Gogo, and I'm sure it sends memory, it reminds you of so much. So let's hear Onyeka When as she gives us Iyo Gogo. We'll be right back.